So I think forests are finally coming to the attention of society. Most people refer to them as the lungs of the planet. I see them as the heart. Beyond climate impacts that we all know of, deforestation is the main driver of biodiversity loss. It also impacts on rainfall patterns and on water availability, and of course, on local communities, all essential for the survival of our economy. As stated on the new Nature report by WEF, nature underpins approximately 44% of the global GDP. So the link between the financial system and forests is very clear, but it is important to differentiate and be clear about the different roles and different actors that comprise the financial system. Just like the food system, the finance sector has many different subsectors, and each of the subsectors has a different role, leverage, and their own limitations. But in the end, they are all going to be impacted in a negative or positive way, depending on how they are integrating forest risks and opportunities in their lending and investment decisions. As I have recently heard at COP, we are all part of the problem and we are all part of the solution. There are various challenges and opportunities, and my work touches on both sides. I think challenges is because forest and deforestation is not only an environmental issue, as most of us look at it. It's a social, it's a political, and it's a cultural issue as well. And I think it's extremely important to integrate the concept of climate justice and ensure that we support sectors exposed to forest risks so a just and fair transition can take place over this decade. Changing business model require a change of frame of mind, of existing habits. So education of society and of the stakeholders that can influence this agenda is key. I think one of the projects that I manage, the Investor Policy Dialogue on Deforestation, does exactly that. It is an investor-led initiative that aims to halt deforestation in the most vulnerable biomes in the world. Investors, members of the initiative, seeks to ensure long-term financial sustainability of investment in these countries that they are invested in by promoting sustainable land use and forest management and respect for human rights, with initial focus on tropical forests and natural vegetation. The investors work with key stakeholders to encourage adoption of and implementation of regulatory frameworks that ensure protection of such natural assets and human rights. And on the opportunity, also there are several opportunities. And as I mentioned, our second project, which I am involved, is a partnership with UNEP Climate Finance Unit and the Nature Conservancy called Innovative Finance for the Amazon, Cerrado, and Chaco. It's an initiative exploring exactly that side of the fence, as there is a 30 billion opportunity for banks, companies, and investors to protect South America's most vulnerable and iconic biomes, while supporting and expanding the production of two key commodities, soya and cattle. For example, the sustainable identification of existing pasture can meet future demand for beef and leather, while also freeing up land for soy and other agricultural products to expand without further conversion of natural habitat. I think that, of course, the finance sector alone cannot drive change. Yes, I think governments must set the right frameworks, the incentives, the regulations, and of course, civil society and business have a vital role to play. But the finance sector actors need to get up to speed and start to understand the huge challenge that we have in front of us. And they can bring speed, they can bring scale, they can bring innovation to the mix. So in relation to forests and considering the size of the challenge, sustainable finance for me means that the stakeholders in the financial sector need to work collectively, they need to engage and support this just transition of forest economies.